Hello, welcome to the latest edition of DBE TV News. You can watch this bulletin every Friday, either at 12 p.m. on the DBE TV channel 122 if you have an OpenView decoder, or Bricks TV channel 509 at 4:30 in the afternoon if you are a StarSat subscriber, or watch it on the Department of Basic Education's YouTube channel. Please share the link with your friends, family, and anyone in your circles. My name is Tsehohajo Moagi. The leading stories this week: the South African Human Rights Commission investigates allegations of racism at a high school in Randfontein. The Basic Education Department set to upgrade its security following a breach at the headquarters this week. Applications for the Second Chance program have been extended. Find out more in this bulletin. The policy on the prevention and management of learner pregnancy in schools has been launched. We get more details from various stakeholders. And we get the latest on school safety from KwaZulu-Natal and in the Western Cape on the hiring of general and education assistants. You can get in touch with us on our social media platforms, on Twitter at DBE_SA and at DBE TV News, Facebook DBE SA, Instagram DBE SA. You can use the hashtag DBE News. Let's start here. The South African Human Rights Commission is investigating allegations of racism at Hoërskool Jan Viljoen. This after a fight ensued between black and white learners at the school situated in Randfontein. Gauteng Education MEC Panyazi Sufi visited the school and held meetings with the school management, parents and learners. The Provincial Human Rights Commission says if a teacher is found responsible of racism, this will have to be reported to the South African Council of Educators and their license could be revoked.
Well, the South African Human Rights Commission's contingent was here this morning to assess the situation and to speak to the relevant role players at the school. The team, from what they have gleaned, they have indicated that there will be a need for the Commission to broaden the scope of this investigation to look at issues of racism holistically and not just confine them to the recent incidents at the school. One thing that caught my eye when I arrived at the school is to see some of the signposts only written in Afrikaans. And that begs the question, is this school only an Afrikaans medium school, or is it a multilingual school? So these are some of the issues we'll have to look at. The Commission will develop the terms of reference for this investigation so that we attend to all the issues holistically, not in a piecemeal fashion. This afternoon, the Commission will be having a meeting with the school governing body as part of our broader engagement with the school community. The department has a constitutional obligation to promote, respect, fulfill and uphold the rights in the Bill of Rights, and they are the first point of call when there are such incidents. And the Commission expects the department to be proactive in dealing with these incidents.
The Basic Education Department in Pretoria is counting the costs after hundreds of angry protesters stormed the building. The parents were demanding that their children be placed in schools a month since schools reopened for the new academic year. Some officials from the department were injured in the incident and doors and windows were broken. The department has condemned the invasion, calling it unwarranted and unnecessary.
The department is gravely concerned that there was a security breach at its offices in Pretoria and that a large number of people gained entry into the building and breached security at reception, and they came into the building and they went to different floors. And that incident left a lot of our staff members traumatized because it's something that we have not experienced before. It led to an injury. One of our staff members was injured. She was hospitalized, and she remains traumatized because it was a very difficult situation that she went through. Two phones were snatched from her, and another colleague as well. His phone was taken away, and damage was caused to the building, and it was absolute chaos, something that the department has not experienced before since we moved to this building at 222 Struben Street at Solplake House. So we are extremely concerned, and we condemn the violence. It was completely unnecessary. There could have been other ways found to communicate the concerns.
The department says the issue is not placements at schools, but the lack of capacity at schools in the province.
The issue that the community was protesting about is really not about placement. It's about lack of space in schools in Atteridgeville area to accommodate all the learners. The Gauteng Education Department, through the district office, working hand in hand with the Department of Basic Education, we were able to place those learners who were yet to be placed in a new school. The school was Mboweni Primary School, which has now been reopened, and it will serve as a temporary secondary school, but the structure is still in a good condition. And as promised to the protesters, the furniture was delivered and the admission process took place, and now all those learners have been placed. And what caused the delay really was the fact that the NGO which had occupied the school after the school was closed down because it was not viable was refusing to leave the school. They were refusing to leave the premises even after the department through the district office secured an eviction order, legally so, but they were delaying moving out.
Coming up, we find out more about the extension for applications to the Second Chance program. Stay tuned.
I'm Mara Glennie. I'm the founder of an organization called Tears, which was founded to help rape victims anywhere in South Africa, whatever their age or belief or color or religion is. And one must remember that abuse is normally done to a child by a well-known person. It is not stranger danger, that's a lie. Allow your child to be able to tell you anything. Without expressing shock, you can express concern, caring and love. But your child should be able to tell you anything. I think that returning to school is incredibly important because the roles that the school plays in a child's life is teaching many skills that people in the homes don't have the ability to teach. So what we need to do is we need to learn that there are rules, they are for the safety of the child. And how best do we make sure that whatever rules we enforce helps the child not to get COVID, not to be hurt. So how you treat your child today, how your child is in school, will affect them for the rest of their lives. So we need to be a society that genuinely cares. And the old days of a child being seen and not heard is long gone. We need to hear their pleas for help.
Welcome back. The applications for the Basic Education Second Chance program have been extended to the 21st of February 2022. The aim of the program is to provide support to learners who have not been able to meet the requirements of the National Senior Certificate or the amended Senior Certificate. Various study material is made available to each learner to ensure they receive their desired matric mark when they write the matric exam via the Second Chance program.
We are pleased that the registration for the matric rewrite program has been extended to the 21st of February. We encourage all the learners to register. However, once you register, how do we support you? We support you through a number of platforms. Number one, we support you through broadcasting, both radio and television. If you go to our website, you'll get more schedule on the broadcasting, both mainly television, which is channel 319, DSTV, as well as Open View, which is 201. So you will be able to get support so that you can find when it's a subject being broadcast. And then there's a broadcast, of course, in which is different according to provinces, given the different regional radio stations. Number two, we support through the face-to-face classes that are taking place. We can find more information from our website if you click on venues as well as venue centers on the right hand of their website called Second Chance Matric Program. Number three, we support you through online. If you're able to access the internet, you should be able to access the Second Chance Matric Program. You'll find the subjects there, you'll find the study guide. We even placed what we call new study guide material for 2022. We've got sufficient material, including the old previous question papers as well as the memorandums. Of course, we support learners as well through the hard copy provision of hard copy materials, which are accessed, as we said, through our centers. We are also pleased that in some cases, you may access support through the DHET community learning centers. And all that information is also available on our website. If you go to the blog under venues, you will see the link that guides you to the centers that are available in all provinces. And if you check there, you may find that your school or the school close to where you live is where there are face-to-face classes provided by the Department of Higher Education and Training. And we want to wish you a wonderful, productive year. We hope that you will take this opportunity to prepare to rewrite matric with seriousness and take advantage, and you make sure that when the exam time comes, you are ready and you'll just pass with flying colors.
For more details on this, visit the Basic Education website. Now, the Basic Education Department has launched the policy on the prevention and management of learner pregnancy in schools. In the build-up to this launch, a roundtable discussion was held on the role of various stakeholders in addressing learner pregnancy, sexual abuse and rape among primary school learners. The department says it is determined to find a way to assist learners between 10 and 14 years who may fall pregnant.
Last year, the Cabinet approved the DBE Learner Pregnancy Prevention and Management Policy. So today, we are meeting here in Pretoria as the Department of Basic Education, and we have invited all the relevant and critical stakeholders to support the department to develop standard operating procedures for the management of learners in primary schools. We're all aware that as the country we have a challenge of learners that are pregnant between the ages of 10 to 14 years. It is of great concern for us as the Department of Basic Education, especially under the backdrop of gender-based violence in South Africa. So as the department, we want to ensure that we support our schools, our educators, as well as our school governing bodies to be able to manage the learners that are between the ages of 10 to 14-year-olds that present to our schools pregnant. We want to make sure that they are linked to the Department of Social Development, that will link them to the South African Police Services, as well as to the Department of Justice. We want to protect our learners. We want to make sure that the perpetrators that are making our learners vulnerable are then taken to law.
The roundtable also looked at the age of consent as defined in the protocol for the management and reporting of sexual abuse and harassment in schools.
Now, children that are below the age of 12 do not have the capacity to give consent to sex or sexual activity at all. So think of those 10-year-olds that we're talking about, right? That would either be statutory rape or sexual assault, depending on what was done to the child. One of the key gaps that we have identified within the protocol is around definitions. And my colleague from social development just indicated that fact to me just now, to say it is important for us to actually have these definitions so that people begin to understand what is it that we're talking about. For instance, within the protocol, there's only those three definitions: sexual abuse, sexual offense, and sexual harassment. There is no abuse, There is no assault, whether rape, whether compelled assault or rape and compelled rape, and all of those things that are within the sexual offenses. Now, here you report the matter to the authorities, that is, those children that are under 12 that do not have consensual rights. The perpetrator cannot even argue that the child gave his or her consent. Now, children between 12 and 15 can have consensual sex or sexual activity with one another. And I'm sure my friend there would smile, because for us to get to that, it was through their activism, through the Teddy Bear Clinic as a country. Now, child experts tell us that this is the age when children discover themselves, their bodies, they go through normal adolescent development, and so on and so forth, and cannot and should not be criminalized for it. Criminalizing consensual sexual activity amongst this peer group violates their constitutional rights and is not in the best interest of children in this age group. It is also not a criminal offense for children in the 12 to 15 age group to engage in consensual sex and sexual activity with a 16 or 17-year-old, as long as the age gap is not more than 2 years between the children in question.
Also in attendance was the Department of Social Development. Nelly Swatlikiso spoke extensively about the role of the department in handling sexual abuse. She also highlighted the importance of designated social workers who deal with such matters.
Looking at the high numbers of, pregnancies amongst the 10 to 14 years of age, that is really a manifestation of the vulnerability of our children, the risk factors, and the harm that they're exposed to in our communities. And when such children have been identified, which I'll talk to that at a later stage, as Dululu indicated, it needs to be reported so that intensive investigations needs to be conducted where a designated social worker, I'm specific, colleagues, when I'm saying a designated social worker, because in terms of our Children's Act provision, those are the social workers that would even take matters to court so that that child could be found to be a child in need of care and protection. Such social workers you find in the Department of Social Development, SAVF, Child Welfare, ASEFFE. There are quite a number of designated child protection, designated social workers. And social development actually are also designated. So you need, when you identify a child that is pregnant, you do that reporting at the department so that a child protection response could be activated. And as I've indicated, that such activation would lead to the assessment, ensuring that proper procedures are taken. And I need to indicate that in cases of sexual abuse, it means that assessment needs to be done, within a very short space of time. Section 110 of the Children's Act gives clarity exactly, because we say within 24 hours, you need to take measures to ensure the well-being of the child.
The legal framework on rape and the abuse of children was also discussed.
Because we also have, I can't even say that it's it's an overt situation where we have statutory rape. So going back to this is that children between the ages of 12 and 15, basically 16 underneath, they can engage in consensual sex, and it's consensual sexual penetration or consensual sexual violations. So aside from children being 16 years old being able to consent, the only two exceptions are either both children are between the ages of 12 and 15, are within that age range, or there is a 2-year age difference. So there's a defense for 16-year-olds and 17-year-olds because an 18-year-old is an adult. So if you are a 16-year-old, you cannot engage in sexual activity with a person underneath the age of 14. That is statutory rape of a child by a child. So when you are also 17, you cannot have sexual relations with a child underneath the age of 15 years old, because then you are actually committing a crime. So it's very important while looking at that to realize that anyone above the age of 18 engaging with a person 15 years or under is already committing statutory rape, whether it's consensual or, well, if it's not consensual, it's rape. But if it's consensual, they are in a relationship, they shouldn't be. They should know better as the adult. And with the sexual offenses, it's trying to protect the children that do not actually know better. And it could be a product of grooming. It could be many factors that lead to adults having relationships with children. But that is why it's important to actually look into all of these stats. And even with the statistics that have been provided, looking into who is the father. If a 15-year-old, 14-year-old, 13-year-old, 10 is even worse because they can't consent, so they shouldn't be pregnant because they shouldn't be engaging. So looking at who is the actual perpetrator, who is the father, because even children over the age of 12 cannot be having sex with children that are 10, children that are 11, it's just rape. So it's very unfortunate that we have to be talking about this, and this is the society that we live in.
Now, after the break, we get the latest from various provincial education departments.
We are launching tomorrow a program that is going to mitigate certain issues that we might have lost as far as the curriculum is concerned. We are launching a tutor program so that each and every learner in the Northwest in our secondary schools at least is been given a chance to liaise with a tutor in a form of a subject advisor at any given moment, at any given time. We are targeting learners from grade 8 to grade 12. And we would love them to just dial that number and get the response. And this is for free for each and every learner who is in our different high schools. It's a given knowledge that once a government have built a school, the school will be handed over to communities. So in number of cases, we are expecting that the communities starts to be eyes of our assets in different communities wherever they are. Our schools are safe for our learners. Just be comfortable about the fact that all our schools in the Northwest Province are quite compliant. And I want to reiterate the fact that our schools are more safer than the streets.
Welcome back. The KZN Education Department says there are concerns about crime that takes place at schools. MEC Gwazim Shengu was part of a school safety summit together with the various stakeholders, including the Provincial Community Safety Department, local traditional leaders, and the South African Police Services. The two-day summit was held in the Umzinyati district. Education MEC Gwazim Shengu has urged communities to always protect schools.
What we have also realized is because of the problem in Mpagacha again and how criminals have become emboldened, they even harm these communities. So it becomes a problem. That's why I say but we are also in a program of referencing all our schools in the province so that at least nama-points ongena nokuphuma aziwayo ungangenwa nje nomngugu uyabona sekunomuntu ngaphakathi. And again we call on our community to stop stealing ama-fence ey'kole zethu. Uyayifaka ifence uyabona sekunembobo, uyabona kamakhelwana uyasifana ngako ifence kamakhelwane nefence yesikole. So izo zonke izinto lezi ezisinikeza inkinga, but we are also partnering with amaphoyisa ukuthi kube ne-visibility around ey'kole zethu constantly. You will have no situation eqeda kula nayo yaseDasmuka la kungene khona nje otsotsi nje abathathu bakwazi abafundi babaphutha ama-cellphone. I-response yamaphoyisa was not satisfactory. It took time for amaphoyisa even ukuresponder kuleyo incident, but we want them ukuthi abe visible across whether kune-incident or not, but abantwana nothisha funa bazi ukuthi kunamaphoyisa around.
In the Western Cape, the Education Department has hired about 20,000 education and general assistants during the second phase of the Presidential Youth Employment Initiative in the basic education sector. Phase 1 of the initiative was successfully implemented from the 1st of December 2020 until the 31st of April 2021 in the basic education sector. About 300,000 young people participated. With this second phase, which comes to an end at the end of next month, the Basic Education Department has provided employment to over 287,000 young people between the ages of 18 and 35. Now let's look at the latest update from the Western Cape province.
The Presidential Youth Employment Initiative, or PYEI in basic education, aims to create opportunities of employment in our schools and to provide support to workers. The education assistants support teachers with administrative tasks, classroom management, sports coaching, and cultural activities, while the general school assistants help with maintenance, cleaning, vegetable gardens, and general administration. During the first phase in 2019-2020, the Western Cape employed over 19,000 teacher and general assistants to ensure continued teaching and learning in a safe environment. In 2021 and 2022, during the second phase, over 20,000 teacher and general assistants are employed. In addition to the valuable work experience gained at the school, the assistants receive training in various fields. The education sector welcomes this initiative. It allows our teachers to focus on their main duty of teaching, while assistants engage in supportive roles.
This is how we end this bulletin this week on Channel 122 on OpenView, on YouTube and on BRICS TV Channel 509 Starset. Before we go, just a reminder that full-time attendance is now in full swing, meaning learners must be in class every day. You can play your part as it takes a village to raise a child. So please ensure learners are at school every day. This will help not only keep them safe, but also curb further learning losses. From myself, Tsehoha Jomoagi, and the entire team, thank you for watching.